say for the sake of argument, you and some other folks have gotten embroiled in a debate about the use of content warnings. One side has put forth the usual case. Some people have trauma or anxiety disorders, and giving them a heads up about common triggers lets them make informed decisions about how to engage with a piece of media. They aren't always looking to walk out even, just avoid a panic attack by having a few moments to prepare themselves. And this is often better for everyone, as more people can appreciate the work itself, and the discourse doesn't derail into another discussion about whether it should have had a content warning. And then someone from the other side of the debate says, in all seriousness, and I remind you, this is about whether or not people should put a single sentence at the beginning of a video, the start of a game, outside the door of a theater. Can't you just, have your panic attack? I mean, it's not life and death. The discussion quickly and predictably devolves from there into people who have panic attacks trying to explain how miserable they are and how comparatively simple putting up a content warning is, and you realize far too late that this whole conversation is missing the point. Because the it's not life and death crowd, they never claimed that they are more inconvenienced than the person having a panic attack. I mean, content warnings ain't life and death either. They made no attempt to frame this trade-off as fair or justified, only that in the grand scheme of things, it's not so bad. I call this didoing. It's not so bad. Relationship discourse would call it the tolerable level of permanent unhappiness, which is a really powerful phrase, but I came up with didoing, and I'm keeping it. You see didoing everywhere. Be as gay as you want, just don't tell your commanding officer. Be trans if you must, but pee at home. Kink is fine, but keep it out of pride. Drag is whatever, just not in front of children. Being a woman on the internet isn't hard if you're willing to block 70,000 people and just use this service to scrub all your private information from the internet so men have a harder time finding your home address. It's $11 a month. What, you can't afford $11 a month? And yes, these are all minimizations. And if you want, you can point that out. You can tell them what it's like to get a Twitter DM threatening to murder your entire family using a quote from Mission Impossible 3. Yeah, he's probably not going to do it, but it can still fuck up your day. The goal is to fuck up your day. But the it's not life and death crowd won't understand, not because they don't care, but because they don't care enough. But even that is letting them control the conversation. You're trying to stress the pain of a panic attack, the anxiety of a death threat, to emphasize a gulf of iniquity between their experience as a person who does not deal with these things and that of someone who does. As if were the gulf only smaller, it would be not so bad. In this, you have accepted their premise. Did you even catch what the premise was? That it's okay for things to be unfair within a certain tolerance. That some people do and should take extra precaution just to exist in the world alongside the rest of us. That it's okay for others to suffer for the convenience of the normals. Because it's not so bad. This is a bit different from how privilege usually works. The issue with content warnings, really most things people dido over, is that if you are a person with triggers, it means other people can provoke a panic response in you against your will. The severity of that response is frankly immaterial. The point is, they have power over you. And if you're going to operate in this world as equals, you need their word that this power will not be invoked. The usual move for people on the privileged end of a power imbalance is to deny the imbalance exists. White privilege is a myth, there is no gender wage gap, etc., etc., etc. And you would think the greater the imbalance, the harder it is to deny. But it's just the opposite. People dido when the imbalance is small, or at least appears small in the eyes of the didoer. It happens with content warnings, microaggressions. No, you know what? I don't get followed around Macy's like I'm going to steal something. But is that really so important? Is this life and death? Don't you have bigger problems? Which is a funny thing to say because, according to white privilege, no, the bigger problems don't exist. Didoing is foundational to the privileged mindset because it's one scenario where they will admit to the didoee, yes, I do have power over you, and you should just let me have it.